Hey everyone, it's Kazette here. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been learning English for a while but still don't feel fluent, this video is for you. We'll be talking about 8 things that might be holding you back from becoming a fluent English speaker and what you can do to finally break through those barriers. I'll be touching on putting grammar first, lack of vocabulary, fear of making mistakes, lack of confidence, chasing a perfect accent, aka a native-like accent, overusing translation, being a passive learner, and inconsistency. Let's get right into it. So as you watch, go to the comment section below and let me know which of these 8 is your biggest challenge right now, or please feel free to include one that is not mentioned in this list. I will also link down below 2 PDF documents. One, a fluency guidelines that you can download completely for free, and another one which is an action plan to overcome these barriers. So what happens when you're not confident enough? It's easy to compare yourself to others who are more fluent or who have learned faster, but this is one of the fastest and easiest way to lose motivation. Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being okay with imperfection. Low confidence leads to silence, and silence leads to little or even no progress. Remember, language learning is not a race. Everyone has their own learning speeds, their own goals, and different backgrounds. And if you start telling yourself, I'm not good enough, it starts affecting your self-esteem. And so you will eventually stop practicing and you will stop making progress. So here are some practical tips to build confidence. Record and listen to yourself. I know it's super strange and weird, but you will eventually get used to the way you sound, your pronunciation, and your accent. Then you can listen back and you'll notice improvement over time. It has happened to me by making these videos for this channel. Daily affirmations are super powerful. Pat yourself in the back, tell yourself, I'm improving every day. Slow progress is better than no progress. Small mental shifts make a big difference. Micro wins. Set small and realistic goals. Goals that you know that you will be able to achieve. Like, for example, speak for 5 minutes every day or learn a new phrase every day, and celebrate those wins and be proud of how far you've come. And please hear me out. Avoid comparing yourself to native speakers. Compare yourself to your past self. Period. As simple as that. This is a big one. Chasing a perfect accent or the native-like accent. While clarity matters, obsessing over a native-like accent can be discouraging. Why? Because it takes years and so much time and effort to get a certain accent right. And what if you never get there? What if you never sound like a native speaker? What happens is that learners start thinking that their English is not good enough because they don't sound like a native speaker. And let me tell you something, you don't need to sound like a native speaker in order to communicate fluently and effectively. Even native speakers from different regions and countries have their own accent. Think of British people, American people, Australians, New Zealanders. They all have their own accent. So honestly, what's the point? So I think it's better to focus on pronunciation, not perfection. Aim for clear pronunciation, not perfect speech. You can use tools like Elsa or Youglish to listen to the words in context. I'll leave the link to those below. Intonation and rhythm. These are more important than individual sounds. English has its own musical rhythm, intonation, and stress patterns, so you can practice it mimicking it or even the shadowing technique. And this last tip is the most important one. Celebrate your accent. It's part of your identity. This will help you build your confidence as well. Many global leaders and successful professionals speak with a non-native accent, and it's not a problem, it's a feature. A slight accent is not a weakness, it's proof that you are multilingual, and that's your superpower. Remember, your accent tells your story. Your accent is part of who you are, and the real accent is inside each of you. So before I continue, I am happy to announce that I am launching my one-on-one coaching sessions to help you overcome any of these difficulties that are holding you back from becoming a fluent English speaker, or any other one that you might have. And we'll come up with an action plan together. It'll be at a special price for a limited time, so please make sure you check the link in the description down below. Another big reason people struggle is not having enough vocabulary, and without words you simply can't express yourself. Vocabulary is like your toolbox, and if it's empty, you're stuck. But memorizing random list of words is completely ineffective for real communication. Several studies in the field of linguistics, especially those by Paul Nation, suggest that we remember words better when we learn them in context. So, here's the trick. Don't memorize long lists of words. Instead, learn language chunks, groups of words that naturally go together. So learn phrases used in real life, and you can also learn commonly used collocations. So for example, instead of just learning the word decision and the meaning or the translation, try learning the collocation. Make a decision. Then put it in a phrase or a sentence. I need to make a decision soon. This helps your brain remember words faster, and you will be able to recall those words easily whenever you need to use them, because now you not only know the meaning of the word decision, you also know how to use it in a sentence. If you want to dive deeper into learning chunks of language, make sure you watch my previous video. You can also use spaced repetition tools such as Anki and Quizlet and customize your own flashcards. But remember, do not include only isolated words. So you can include the word, a short definition that you can easily understand, then several set phrases, several commonly used collocations, and finally some example sentences that are connected to real life situations. This will make it much more effective and meaningful. And practice output. You need to start using what you have already learned. So break the English ice. You can do that in several ways. You can leave comments on videos, you can write posts in English on your social media, you can send audio messages to your family or friends, or you can even record messages for yourself. Let's put it in this way. You need to use it or you'll lose it. Using the vocabulary that you learn reinforces your memory. Starting with grammar first. Most language learners are taught grammar first. Tenses, rules, exceptions, and yes, grammar is important. I'm not saying that it's not, so please don't get me wrong. But in the beginning, it shouldn't be your main focus. Here's what happens. When you start learning a language by learning its grammar first, you often end up overthinking everything you want to say. You don't want to make any mistakes, and you want to get everything right. So you become more worried about being correct than being understood. And guess what? Research in second language acquisition shows that grammar first approaches might slow down natural communication. According to Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, language is acquired by meaningful exposure, not by memorizing grammar rules. Here's what you can do instead. Focus on input first. Prioritize exposure to everyday situations in English. And I know you're gonna say, come on, Cosette, I don't live in an English-speaking country. But I'm telling you, you must create your language bubble. So you can watch videos, TV shows, movies, series in English with English subtitles. Try to do activities that you do every day in English. For example, you want to cook a specific meal. So instead of looking up for the recipe in your native language, look it up in English. Or let's say you like to exercise and you want to start doing yoga or Pilates at home. So instead of looking up for the videos in your native language, look for the videos in English. You will be exposed to the language anyway. Most importantly, you need to expose yourself to language that it is slightly above your current level, which is called comprehensible input or I+1. When you're first starting, use grammar as a tool for improvement, not as a starting point. So, for example, instead of memorizing grammar rules, try learning sentence patterns that you think will be useful for your everyday life. Let's say you want to travel to an English-speaking country, so you can learn phrases like, "Excuse me, how do I get to the nearest train station?" Or you want to go shopping, and then you can say, "Excuse me, how much is this?" Or "Can I try this on?" So let's say that first you need to get used to the language system, to grammar patterns, sentence structures, and then grammar will make more sense as you go, especially when you have heard it used naturally. Focus on understanding and using common phrases. So, for example, try to learn phrases that are meaningful to you, that are related to a particular topic you're interested in. Understand them, review them regularly, and start using them. Get comfortable with the language first, the rhythm, the flow of the language. Train your ear by exposing yourself to the language. Get comfortable with the rhythm and flow of the language. And remember, this is a starting point when you're first starting out. So I'm not telling you to keep doing this forever. Okay, now let's talk about being afraid of making mistakes when speaking. This fear often comes from old school systems where making mistakes were punished. And let's be honest, no one likes making mistakes. But when it comes to language learning, mistakes are essential. According to the error-based learning theory, mistakes activate deeper processes in the brain, especially when you get feedback. Have you ever made a mistake when talking to someone and then that person corrects you or tells you the correct way of saying something, and it is just then when you realize you've been making this mistake over and over again without even knowing? Well, guess what? When you make a mistake and someone corrects you or gives you feedback, you remember it better. Let me tell you something that happened to me when I was a college student. I remember one day we were in class discussing a topic, and then I said, "I'm agree." Then our professor told me, "Cosette, you agree." In English, you don't use the verb to be to say that you agree. So you just say, "I agree" instead of "I'm agree," or "I don't agree" instead of saying "I'm not agree." It was that moment that I realized that I have been saying this wrong all the time. So what happens is that you don't realize that you are making a mistake until someone points out that mistake. And then all of a sudden, you never make that mistake again. Well, you know that learning is a social process, and when it happens in a meaningful, real life situation, you remember it better. So I think that when it comes to making mistakes in language learning, there needs to be a mindset shift. Mistakes are not a bad thing. Making mistakes is okay. Making mistakes is a good thing because we can learn from our mistakes. Think about it this way. The more mistakes you make, the faster you learn. So embrace your mistakes and learn from them. So how can you overcome this fear? First of all, aim for communication, not perfection. You can also join a community platform where mistakes are expected and not judged. I invite all of you to join my community, which is absolutely for free, where I share weekly tips for learning English, words of encouragement for all of you. We can also engage in conversations or discussions, and again, no judgment. And I also go deeper into topics that are very interesting when it comes to language learning. You can also visit the YouTube community tab. I think you just need to use the YouTube app while you're watching the videos. You can leave messages there and we can interact with each other. Another thing you can do is record yourself speaking and then listen back. I know it's going to be super awkward in the beginning, but this builds confidence and awareness. Sometimes you speak and then you don't realize the mistakes you make because you are focused on the message that you want to convey. But when you listen back, you will notice some of the mistakes or weird things that you say when you are talking. Remember, your aim is not punishment. Your aim is not being perfect. You are aiming to make slow and steady progress. And don't even compare yourself to others, because all you need is become better day after day. So you just need to be better than you were yesterday. You can also keep a mistake tracker and record recurring errors that you make in the corrected version, and then you can review them weekly. It is also important that you write down the reason why you're making that specific mistake. Is it a grammar mistake because of a structure that doesn't exist in your native language? Is it a pronunciation mistake because of a consonant or vowel sound that you don't have in your mother tongue? This way will make you realize what you need to do in order to stop making that mistake, and please make sure you review your mistake tracker weekly. And finally, embracing mistakes is about having a growth mindset. Understand that each mistake brings you closer to fluency. Every fluent speaker made thousands of mistakes along the way, and that's how they got fluent. I make mistakes, native speakers make lots of mistakes, so please embrace them. Translating from your native language can definitely slow down your fluency journey. Many learners translate every sentence they say in their head. If you're constantly translating in your head before speaking, your brain is always switching from one language system to another, which creates cognitive overload. It's mentally exhausting and it'll ultimately slow you down. It also leads to unnatural phrases and expressions because languages have different ways of expressing the same ideas. Think of idioms, for example. If you translate them word for word from your native language, most of the times they just don't make any sense. So here are some easy steps you can take to start thinking in English. For example, label your world. You can actually label things around you, concrete objects, or you can also label them mentally. Use monolingual dictionaries since the very beginning. English to English dictionaries are more effective than using a dictionary from your native language. It will immediately avoid translation, especially when you are just a beginner. Talk to yourself. Practice internal mini dialogues. Like, for example, okay, what should I do now? So I'm going to the supermarket. Oh, I need to buy this, or I'm running out of this and that. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes, and you'll be getting used to using the language naturally. The shadowing technique also helps a lot with this. It builds reflexes and fluency. You get used to the language, you start identifying certain set phrases or expressions, and then it's all related. The more input you have, the more you get used to the language. So why being a passive learner is a problem? Studies in active learning show that engagement is key. So the more you interact with what you're learning, the more you retain it. So watching videos, listening, or even reading is not enough, even if it feels productive. Passive input is great for exposure, but in order to become fluent, you need to produce the language. So my number one tip to stop being a passive learner and become an active learner and an active English speaker is, guess what? Break the English ice. Start short conversations with friends, family members, in communities, and start using the language right away. Even if it is with the little knowledge that you have, the little vocabulary, but that is going to build the habit of using the language without the fear of making mistakes, and you will start getting used to it. You can prepare go-to phrases like, "Hi, I'm learning English. Can I ask you something?" or "Excuse me, can you help me with this?" This is going to make you feel more confident because you are already going to have some set phrases phrases or set expressions or set questions that you can ask when you're going to start a conversation. And once again, don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until you have the perfect pronunciation. Don't wait until you have the perfect grammar structures. Don't wait until you get the perfect accent. Tell me something. How are you going to know if you make mistakes or if you have a good or pronunciation or not if you never use the language? You need to start using the language and then you will learn along the way. Start with what you have and then build from there. And here's the final point. Inconsistency is the silent killer of progress. So let's put it this way. Consistency beats intensity. Language learning is like going to the gym. Small, regular workouts are more effective than rare and intense sessions. So studying English 5 to 10 hours once a month won't help you as much as practicing English 5, 10, or 15 minutes every day. So here are some tips to stay consistent. Build small habits. You can use the 5-minute rule. So you can say that you're going to do something in English for 5 minutes a day. Once you start, if you're able to keep doing it for 21 days, you will likely keep going. Keep it fun and simple. Use engaging materials or watch TV shows and movies or series that you like. But most importantly, create an action plan that is achievable for you with simple goals according to the time that you have or the time that you are able to spend doing certain activities every day, and one that you can actually enjoy. If you enjoy the process, you'll keep going. If it feels like a chore, then you'll probably quit. Build a routine. Connect English learning with a daily habit, one that works for you. For example, you say that you're going to watch a video every time you have your morning coffee, or that you're going to listen to a podcast on your daily commute to work. Track your progress. Use a calendar app to mark every day that you need to do something or every day that you practiced. Visual progress motivates consistency. Consistency keeps your brain engaged and makes learning part of your daily life. So the key takeaway, fluency comes from active, consistent, meaningful engagement with the language, not perfection. And remember, fluency is a lifetime journey, not a destination. So if this video helped you in any way, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already for more practical English tips. And in the comments, please let me know which of these 8 is your biggest challenge right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.